and my freshman year, I didn't even play. I was the backup quarterback on a team that went 0-8. That says a lot. I couldn't get on the field, and we never won a game anyway. I mean, it's one thing to be the starting quarterback and to lose. If they don't even think you're good enough to be a starting quarterback on a team that's 0-8, you must really suck. The reason why I played my second year was because that quarterback quit because he's like, I'm not playing football anymore. We suck. So naturally, I was like, oh, cool. I'll continue to, work on my skill because I actually had a halfway decent arm. But there were workouts in the morning at 6 a.m. before school. And I was like, okay, I can get up at 6 a.m. and I can go do these rope drills where you'd run through the ropes. You see a lot of people do that. There were these hills that we would run up. And there was probably less than 10 people there, but I was probably one of the 3 that were there almost every single day to try to continue to push myself to grow in these maybe physical areas that I was really behind a lot of other people at. Because naturally, no one's good at everything. I mean, that's just not the way life works. We're all talented at certain things, but we can really continue to improve our weaknesses if we're humble enough to identify them, and we can build on our strengths. And I think we're all trying to find a more well-rounded aspect to ourselves, but a lot of that has to come with this understanding about yourself that what you know is very limited, and what you don't know is limitless. And you have an opportunity every day to surround yourself with people to help you grow. And that could be, in my case, it very much was my parents early on. And then as I learned to love the sport of football, I was watching kind of on the periphery of pro athletes, but there was a junior college football coach that I wanted to become a better passer because I had a good arm. And he was a 3-sport coach. I would go up there to his camp to learn to throw the ball better when I was 15 years old. And it just became this, like I said, life was pretty simple when you could kick a ball or throw it. And for me, it was throwing it, and I wanted to throw a ball better. So who better than to find this guy who was probably ahead of his time as a coach, and he taught me how to throw the ball with some good fundamentals. And I really saw that as like, wow, I can go see someone who has more knowledge than me, and I can learn from him, and I can take him back to my school, and everyone's going to go, wow, Tom, you made some improvements. And I think that was a good learning experience for me even at a young age. And I said, you know what, I'm going to apply the same thing that I learned in those previous years. I'm going to go out there and compete as hard as I can, and I'm going to treat practice like a game, and I'm going to gain the respect of my teammates every day through my work ethic. I'm going to work hard in the weight room. I'm going to work hard in the film room. I'm going to work hard to be a good student. And going into my 4th year, it was a little bit of a battle, and my teammates named me team captain, and I won the starting job. And we had a good year. We finished 10-3. We came back from I think it was a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter, and to win the game. And I was like, man, that was unbelievable. Now that I'm going into my 5th year, like, we're going to have a great year. I was 10-3, learned a lot, beat everyone out. And then I showed up, and Coach Carr says, well, you're going to compete with Drew Henson to be the starter going into your 5th year. And I was like, you got to be f***ing kidding me. You want me to compete? That's what we're going to do. And Drew had improved too. So Drew was learning to compete as well. And my view on team sports was you compete, and whoever wins the job, that's the person that gets it. No one's entitled to a position on a team. Whatever is best for the team, that's what everyone has to say. Look, man, the kid beat me out. He's better, gives us a better chance to win. So I competed really hard again in my 5th year, took it to a new level, thought about my conditioning, my strength, thought about how I was making my decisions off the field. Going to my 5th year, and I was starting to play really good. And I thought, I'm gonna have a chance. And Coach Carr called me in, and he said, well, Tom, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna start. Drew, you're gonna play the 2nd quarter. And I'm gonna decide at halftime who plays the rest of the year. And I was like, not what I wanted to hear, but I'm going to deal with it the best way I can. So, first game of the year, I start. Drew comes in the 2nd quarter. He says, Tom, you're going to play the rest of the game. We're down 4 points with 2 minutes left in the game. I drive him down the field. We score. We win the game. I'm like, man, way to go. I'm ready to keep this going. He says, we're going to do the same thing next week. I was a team captain too. So, I had to do what was right by the team. And I took that. That was like one of the greatest honors. I always say that was one of the great honors that you could have, was when all your buddies from college and these great athletes, they name you captain because they say, man, you deserve it. We want you to be the leader for us. So I go into, the second game of the year, and I start. Drew comes in, and he says, Tom, you're going to play the third and fourth quarter, which I did, and we won pretty handily. It wasn't against a great team. So we played at Syracuse, and I played in the first quarter. We didn't score. Drew came in, threw a touchdown pass in the second quarter, came in, and he said, Drew's going to play in the second half. And I'm a fifth-year senior, captain of the team, 10-3, won a bowl game in my fourth year, got off to an undefeated start in my fifth year, and I was like, all right, let me cheer him on. I'm going to cheer him on. And we won the game. I stood up there, and we sang the victors. I sang it louder than I ever sang after a game. Hail to the victors. And I wanted my teammates to know that I had their back, even if it wasn't right for me, or I didn't feel it was right for me. So we platooned for another couple games. Sixth game of the year, we're undefeated. We're going to Michigan State. They had an undefeated team. I started. Drew played the second quarter, and they started Drew in the second half. We didn't have a great third quarter with Drew in, so they brought me in, and they said, Brady, you're going to play the rest of the game. Almost the end of the third quarter. We scored 4 touchdowns from the mid-third quarter to the end of the game. And we ended up losing. So we were 5-1. I walked in there after the game. All the teammates came up, said, great job. And Coach Carr said, we're going to platoon next week. And I was like, wow, we're really in on this platoon thing, huh? We played Illinois at home. We were huge favorites. I played the first quarter. Drew played the second quarter. I started the third quarter. I threw an interception. He took me out of the game. They put Drew in. Drew threw an interception. They took him out of the game. They put me back in. Had a pretty good fourth quarter of the game. Driving to win the game. Our starting center, we're in field goal position to win. I'm in the shotgun. Snaps the ball 25 yards over my head to knock us out of field goal range. We lose the game to Illinois. And after that, Coach Carr said, the platoon's off. Tom's playing the rest of the year. We didn't lose a game the rest of the season. And that wasn't just because of me. I want to be really clear. We had a great team. But what did I learn from that whole situation? It was a tough battle for me. It was a tough go. It was tough in high school. It was really tough in college. There was a lot of stress. Nothing was given to me. I didn't take the easy way out going to Cal and saying, God, that could be really easy. Close to home. My mom can do my laundry. And everyone can come to the game. I can start. I stuck it out at Michigan where it was 10 degrees in the wintertime. And it was a lot of tough competition. So, of course, now I'm going to the NFL draft. And I'm like, all these pro coaches must have seen how good I was. I mean, they watched me at Michigan. We beat Ohio State, my senior year. We played Alabama in the Orange Bowl. I threw for 340 yards in the Orange Bowl. We were down 14 points in the fourth quarter against Alabama in the Orange Bowl. We came back and won in overtime. Man, I'm going to be a second-round pick. And, round 1, 2, and here we go. 6th round, pick 199. And I was like, all right, I'm going to make all those other teams pay. But what did I learn, What did I learn? Like I said, I wasn't the prodigy. I learned about work ethic. I learned about resilience. I learned about gaining the trust and the respect of my teammates and coaches to name me captain. I learned about how to dig deep within myself, a long way from home without a ton of support for the position I was in, to still try to find a way to succeed in this situation that I really wanted to be in because it was the best for me anyway. I think if I look at that journey from where I was as a kid to where I was as a 22-year-old, I had my parents that were in my life to support me every step of the way. I had my junior varsity football coaches that were there every step of the way. I had my throwing coach and mentor, Tom Martinez, there every step of the way. I went to Michigan. I had Coach Carr challenge me to say, those who stay will be champions. So I stayed. Greg Harden found a way into my life who said, don't worry about all these things that are out of your control. Focus on what you can do. Focus on the 2 reps you got. I had all my teammates that supported me. I had my sisters that supported me. It takes so many people to get to where we get in our life. Yeah, I was there doing some of the work, but Couldn't have done it if I didn't have them. So when I stand up there, even sitting here today in front of you, I'm just a story like everybody else. It's all just a narrative. You know, you have people in your life that are there to support you, hopefully, that are going to encourage you and challenge you every step of the way, because there's no straight line for anybody. There's not a straight line for me in this path. Kids may sit here and your kids may say, God, oh, Tom Brady, God, he was able to win. I heard you name some great, records that I was very fortunate to be able to have over a 23-year career. All I think about is my parents. I think about my kids. I think about my family. I think about Greg. I think about my best friend and body coach, Alex. I think of the people that I work with every day. So for me, I just am a representation of all these people that have come into my life. And I felt very motivated to, I always said we play for the name on the front of our jersey was the Patriots or the Bucks, and I played for the name on the back of the jersey, which was my family and the people that encouraged me. So that was a great, that was a great first, 22 years of my career in my life. And I got to the Patriots, and you talked about that one moment where I said, wow, I can really do this. So think about it. I had been in all this competition at Michigan. I had Brian Greasy ahead of me lead us to a national championship. I had one of the top recruits in the country, Drew Henson, and I was staring those guys down every day. Here I come to the Patriots, and I get drafted, and I'm fourth on the depth chart. And I finally see Drew Bledsoe throw the ball for the first time. And in my very naive, competitive way, because he signed a 10-year, $100 million contract with the New England Patriots when I was making $185,000, I looked at him and I go, I could throw the ball better than that. Which I was the only one on the field who saw that, and I wasn't, but I had a belief that I could if I worked the same way and if I gained the trust and respect of my teammates in the same way, that if I ever did get that position, and I told this to my best friend who was one of my roommates in college, I said, if they ever put me on the field, they're never going to take me off the field. And they never did.